Hello, hi Rajiv ji. This is Kamal here from mirasangeet.com and a warm welcome to you on Chat and Chai once again.
Hi Kamalji, Pranam, how are you?
Pranam Rajiv ji, I'm very well, thank you. And we do have, like always, a few queries. But before we move on to them, I just wanted to know if there's anything latest that you wanted our listeners to be updated on President Obama's executive action plan.
Well, couple of things that have a direct or indirect bearing on what is going on with Obama's executive plan. Uh, First of all, let's talk about what they are trying to do to implement it.
Okay.
So, the most recent development in that is that there is and I think we talked about it the last time, but I'll sum it up real
Mm-hmm.
quickly, that there is a
Right.
call from both USCIS as well as State Department on suggestions from the public on how to improve the visa process as well as the petition approval process. And they have sought, they've given out 11, 12, 13 questions. They want public to respond to that. I'm preparing a response. Hopefully, I'll be able to do it. I've been pretty busy. Coming year, the beginning of the year has been extremely busy. So, but we are trying to do a response to that, and some people from the community have already sent me their input. You want to do it, any
Mm-hmm.
one of our listeners want to do it, feel free to send it directly to me to help@immigration.com, help@immigration.com. I'll be happy to include your suggestions if they are relevant to what the government is seeking information on. Second thing, let's talk about people who are opposing Obama's action. There are three sets of things going on. One was a lawsuit in Pittsburgh, which was decided against the government, um, and government seems to feel that that does not affect the action, especially as far as legal immigration is concerned. It has nothing to do with it. Second is there is a lawsuit pending in Texas where several states have joined against Obama's action. That lawsuit is still pending. We'll see what the judge does in that suit. And the third thing that has happened is yesterday, uh, Boehner, who was the Speaker of the House earlier, won and
Mm-hmm.
became the Speaker of the House yet one more time. Why is that relevant? Well, the most important thing about being the Speaker is he controls the agenda of the House. He controls
Right.
what gets voted on, what does not get voted on. It's good for immigration because out of the choices that we had, Boehner is still the most moderate choice. The other candidate was pretty much a Tea Party candidate, which is considered to be an extreme party, very anti-immigration. So it's in a way it's a less negative development than it would have otherwise have been. That, in a nutshell, is
Okay.
where we stand. The rest of it is still up
Oh.
in the air. We'll see how it goes.
All right. So, Rajesh, among the few queries that we've received here on Mera Sangeet today, there's one which pertains to President Obama's immigration action plan. It says, would this President Obama's immigration action plan have an impact on EB3, India wait time?
Um, Directly, no. Okay. But
Mm-hmm.
indirectly, it makes life a lot easier because you'll be able to file I-485 upon approval of the I-140 without having to wait for the priority date to become current. That means your spouse and your adult children or even children can get work authorizations. And after 180 days, you can actually change jobs and move over to a different job. Okay, so
Okay. Mm-hmm.
directly the waiting time is not affected, but your mobility and your freedom becomes much greater.
All right. Okay. Rajivji, moving on to another question here. This is from one of our listeners who says that he plans to go to India. He's here in the United States on H1 visa and intends to go back to India, but wants to come back. So he says, what should he do in this case? Because his, I think, visa is valid for another 2 years. So can he go back to India, come back, and then within this time reapply so that he can continue to stay on in the United States?
Okay, I'm assuming, and this is an assumption I'm making. If I'm wrong, please let Kamalji know. By the way, just to remind you, on Thursday, January 8th, we have a conference call with the community. Feel free to log in. Details are on our website, immigration.com. Anybody has any questions, you can Skype or call in. Every other Thursday, we do this call. Now, I'm assuming what he's saying is he's quitting his job and going to India. Then he wants to have the option of coming back to H1 to join another employer if he so wants. Is that how you read it, Kamalji?
I guess so, Rajivji, because he says he's got another 2 years of work period. So maybe he wants to go back to India right now, then come back again and continue working for 2 years with the same company. That's what I think so.
Well,
And maybe then, later on, continue to work here in the United States. I'm presuming.
There are only two possibilities. He's either wants to come back to work for the same company or for a different company. In either case,
right.
He will be entitled to one of the two options. Once 1 year of H1 or 1 year of stay outside USA is complete, he can either get 6 years of H1 back and work for any employer, including the old company, but then he'll be subject to the quota. Or he can choose to be exempt from the quota and join any employer at any time, but he will only get H1 for 2 years. That is called the remainder option. So he has plenty of good options. If he comes back on remainder option, and he starts his green card, then he can get his H1 extension past 2 years, which will be after total 6 years, based upon the green card filing. So really, he has plenty of good options. I don't see any problem with it.
All right. Finally, a question here, Rajiji, from a listener who says he is on H1B and his wife is in India. He says, she has a lot of work experience in India and she wants to join him in the United States. He says, is there any possibility for her to come over to the United States and also continue working or probably pick up a job here in the United States?
No, there are two options there. Either she qualifies for her own H1, or if Obama's plan gets implemented, H4 holders, well, actually, there's a regulation pending on that. H4 holders will get work authorization if the H1 holders are at the I-140 stage of the green card or somewhere thereabouts. We don't know what the final regulation is going to look like. So her own H1 or a change in laws, both would happen.
Okay, so just taking this up further, Rajivji, like you just mentioned, in case the H1 holder is in the process of getting a green card, in case the person is in the United States, let's say just on a H1 visa and intends to work for, say, whatever time his visa is approved for 4 or 5 years, and his spouse is with him, can the spouse also work, you think, would be able to work after we see any reforms?
Well, the regulation that is pending basically required that the H1 holder should have applied for the green card and be at a certain stage, which is typically about a year down the line after applying. If that is the case, then their spouse will be able to work and they'll get work authorization. That regulation is still pending. We don't know what's going to happen. I think part of the problem was when the regulation is published as a proposed regulation, public is asked to send comments to the government like they are going to do in a case that I just mentioned. So once the government gets all the comments, they review all the comments and they address all the comments before they finalize the regulation. I think in the H4 EAD regulation, I could be wrong about the number, but I think they received over 1,100 comments. So it's a lot of comments, and maybe that's what is causing the delay. But really, once that regulation is published, then we are in good shape.
All right. So, Rajivji, these were the queries sent in by our listeners here on Mira Sangeet. Thank you so much for all your time today once again and for being a part of our show.
Thank you, Kamalji. I appreciate the opportunity to be of help.
Thank you, Rajivji. Have a good day ahead.
You too. Bye-bye. Every other Thursday at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we host free community conference calls. Everybody is welcome to join. Some people post questions ahead of time. You can take membership in our forums. All of the details are there on our website, immigration.com. You can take membership, ahead of time, and it's instantaneous. It happens right away. And post your questions beforehand, or you can just log in. The phone number and all are provided: 202-800-8394, 12:30 Eastern Standard Time every other Thursday. We have free apps for both Apple iOS platform for your iPhones and iPads, as well as for Android. Just look for immigration.com, the period dot, and the application should show up.